Good evening, faithful. Welcome to the 49ers live member call-in show that happens here on the channel where sneakerheads, members of the channel, call in, give their opinions, ask their questions, and we talk about whatever topics they want to talk about. It obviously is a tumultuous week for the 49ers. We will cover anything that viewers want to bring up. Obviously, the week 3 game coming up against Denver is on the docket. Looking forward to that. Very much. And we will get into those that have been here early in the chat. Just want to say that the link for StreamYard is in there. You go to the community tab. If you are a member of this channel, that's where you get the link to go backstage and come on live. Quesadilla Thrilla coming in to say what's up. Raphael 5629er, Sneakerhead here on the channel says, what's up, Rob? Sneakerheads and everyone. Quesadilla Thrilla says, let's go. JMac49 is the newest member of the Sneakerhead Crew. We'll see if we can get JMac in here today. He says he's glad to join the Sneakerhead family. JMac, welcome. We've got Alan Elizer coming in, Sneakerheads, and everyone. Happy Friday Eve. Debo, that like button. It's time to start week 3. Of course, we got Kevin from across the pond. Jimmy G was saying to the media that he's glad to be back and allowed to throw more balls downfield. Yeah, okay, where was that idea last season? Wasn't that the failed finishing move and reason we lost the Super Bowl? Potentially, we will see what the game plan is with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. But first and foremost, let us get into the program. Let me bring in Sean 9519ers to the stream. Sean, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing good, buddy. Doing good. First, I want to say I watched back Sunday's post game. I had some beers. I was a little crazy. I literally, my wife was like, WTF, bro, if you ever do that again, you're never going on the show. I was like, oh, man, I'll be looking at some of these comments. And one guy was like, this guy's drunk. I'm like, oh, damn.
I love that your wife was like, no, listen here, Sean, we need to talk about this.
Yes,
that's great.
Yes, because I had the whole game. No one was here. I mean, I was lighting it up the whole time. And I was like, oh, man, probably should hold back on that next time.
I love it. I thought it was good enthusiasm, my friend.
Good times, good times. But yes, do we have a topic for this show, or we just
I mean, the biggest topic for the week is obviously the injury to Lance and moving on to Garoppolo. I, like some others, am willing to talk about it, but don't feel a need to. I see it as we have sort of moved forward. Obviously, anyone who wants to bring it to the table can. I'm looking on towards Denver primarily.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm with you. Same thing. I mean, we can talk about it, but it's over with. I mean, you break an ankle, you have surgery. He's doing well. He wants to go to the game this week. Probably not going to be able to because of swelling based on Shanahan. So here we go. Let's rip off the season, and we can handle it in the off season. But I'm really looking forward to Denver as well. I'm really hoping that they're as bad as they've looked the first 2 weeks. Obviously, with Russell Wilson, in our history, who cares about Denver at this point? He individually knows our weaknesses and our strengths. So hopefully with the addition of Charvarius Ward, Hufanga playing the way he's playing, and how fast we're playing in our front seven, hopefully it really doesn't matter this week. Hopefully we can suffocate the Broncos just like we've done the Bears and the Seahawks in the first half, primarily to hopefully allow Jimmy and the team to put up enough points to, open it up in the second half and allow us to just continue to pound away on defense and come out with the W.
Do you see, I mean, Denver has had success running the ball to this point in the season. Only 2 games in, small sample size. San Francisco, our defense has done great at stopping the run. Small sample size and a monsoon game. So it is a little bit off, 2.6 yards per carry. You keep that up all year. That's a record-setting defense. I don't think that will happen, but something's got to give here. If Denver's backs are averaging 5 yards per carry, were it not for the 2 fumbles at the goal line against Seattle, they probably win that game. Do you have a feeling which one gives a little bit more? Do you believe that the 49ers run defense is as stout as it has looked to this point, or will Denver really test us there?
No, I would say we're as stout as we are, but we also, the one weird thing about this game is Denver's played 2 horrible teams and the 49ers have played 2 horrible teams and 1 common opponent. So it's very hard, for me to put as much stock into our run defense yet. I'd like to see how we do against Denver. I'd like to see how we do against the Rams, albeit Rams don't have a great running attack, and then see how we do in the first, 5 or 6 games before I can sit there and say that's going to be a trend all the way through the season. But I think this game is going to be a good indicator of that, because I think Hackett, Denver's coach, he's under so much scrutiny for all of the issues there with his clock management and game, everything we already know, that I think he's probably going to want to come out and establish the run like most coaches do, just because you're never going to yell at him for run calls. He's getting in trouble in the late down situations. So I think if we can, have a good game plan against them, put Russ in those 3rd and long situations to force Hackett to now make, those types of calls at home in front of his crowd that was booing him last Sunday. I think that would be best case scenario for us, because at some point something's going to crack on their side.
Yeah, I think that what I'm cueing in on there is this is the start of the test for the defense. You mentioned it early on, what you were saying there, that this is where we really start to see if the rubber meets the road, because it begins the test. We've got Denver, then we go on to LA. Certainly those are 2 of the tougher matchups early on in the year. The next 2 are easy, but they're back-to-back road games, and that always presents a unique challenge, going out to the East Coast, staying on the East Coast, adjusting to the time zone. And then we come back for a couple of tough ones before the bye. So it really does set up to where, hey, we had some early odd games, especially week 1 against Chicago, week 2, a very emotional game because of what happened to Trey and the way in which that changed the outlook on the season. Certainly had to impact all of the players on the field. They've spoken about that. This feels like a chance to say, no, we're for real. Going forward, we're going to continue to be one of these top 3 defenses in the league. I've been really pleased with the stats to this point, but again, believe they are skewed because of an easier matchup against Seattle and Chicago and the weather in week 1.
Yeah, and this is prime time too, right? So, Hufanga's played out of his shoes the first 2 weeks. Let's see how he does in prime time against Russell, who likes to throw the ball deep. Hopefully he doesn't take too many of those gambles unless they're calculated to where he's effective on them. Otherwise, that's where Russell knows he can take advantage of us. Also, you look at week 1 with the Bears, we got beat by exactly how Russell Wilson plays. He just like Justin Fields. You smother him for a half, then all of a sudden he makes 2 crazy plays, and next thing you know, your offense hasn't scored enough points to put him away, and you have, danger Russ, you call him, right? But what's interesting? Here's what's interesting about week 2, though, right? So for the first time, I think we can all share this, like, oh, it felt so good. For the first time in, I don't even know, like maybe 7 years, we had such a lead on Seattle that when they had the blocked field goal, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, that 7-0 game turned into a tie, and here we go. Right. We had enough cushion, and the defense played that well that we were able to extend it and essentially put them away like good teams do. So that was a positive for me as well, and a good learning experience for them when you hit adversity like that. But ultimately,
very positive.
They got a shutout too, really. We gave up 7, but 7's on special teams,
That's
to
right.
me. So, with that said, I'm just looking for progression out of our team, period, right? Jimmy, I don't think any week of the season, period. I just don't think there's going to be any, I hope Jimmy does this or he does this. I really think he's going to be the same player we've seen for many years. I only hope that from what he's saying in his pressers, that Shanahan's hearing him in person. Because you see him talking about, man, it was great being able to throw it downfield because I was running Trey's game plan. Man, it felt like 2017, being able to sit there and air it out. He threw that dime to Ayuk that Ayuk dropped right in the chest.
Right.
If he catches that, his stats look a little bit better too, than just the 154 and a tud, and 100 rating. He was shot up to 109 rating. So, just one little thing like that, playing only 3 quarters of football can skew that as well. So I'm looking for that type of precision in this environment. And honestly, the good thing about this environment and having Jimmy is I'm not going into this game going, how's Trey going to do in his first primetime game with the whole world looking at him, right?
You know that Jimmy's been there for this one, yeah.
Yeah, so that's out. So for me now, it's just like business as usual. We got the same team with better defense. I really think it's time to just let's ride, right?
Let's ride.
Like Russell says.
I love it. All right, let me ask a couple of questions because we got some good ones in the chat. Quesadilla Thrilla 71, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, do you foresee defenses stacking the box and daring Jimmy to pass it deep? This goes back to what Sean was just talking about right there, that Jimmy's mentioning in the presser. Hey, I do want to push the ball downfield. I feel like that gives me an added advantage. And we know historically, when they don't push the ball downfield with Jimmy Garoppolo, defenses do stack the box. They do crowd the middle. They try to take away what it is Jimmy does best. You have to be able to make defenses pay for that, even if it is just an occasional shot play. I'm with you. I really hope that Shanahan is listening to that. I hope that he's capable of growth and maturation there and saying to himself, Do I want to win within the scheme of my offense? Yes. But you know what I want to do more than that? Just win, baby. So if we need to sling it around a little bit and push it downfield, let's add that to the game. What are your thoughts on that question there, Sean?
Yeah, no, I agree. And this goes back to when we talked about Trey and weeks and weeks ago about what he'll do for our offense. Now that we're back in the Jimmy scenario, it's that 17 yards to the line of scrimmage. If you can't get those safeties to play their natural position, then it's going to be very hard to get those over routes on the linebackers. That's why Aaron Rodgers is so tough. You can't play out your position as a safety. So what does he do? He slices you through that 17 to 22 yard mark. Not a lot of yak because the safeties hit him at point of contact, but they get those chunk explosives where we rely on 10 yards and explosive yak. So to me, if Jimmy can think about it. He's playing for money. He's actually playing for money right now.
He is a next big deal. It could be huge, right? Could be tens of millions of dollars per year.
But even per game, because think about it. He doesn't want to get injured because he's
true.
only going to get 6.5.
Every game's a bonus.
Every game's 500 G's plus more incentives and such, right? So to me, he's sitting there. Of course, he wants to air it out now. Like, hey, coach, hey, I want to get some stats this year. Because whether you're paying me another contract or someone else is paying me, like, let's go. So
right.
Hopefully we use it almost as a no-lose situation type mentality without being too aggressively reckless.
Yeah.
But I think, man, if the one thing that could be a blessing in this, if he does allow Jimmy to open up, or if he allows his own playbook to open up to Jimmy kind of similarly to what Trey was doing some of the downfield. I mean, you heard Jimmy talking about the speed with McLeod and with Gray.
Yes.
Now that he's getting first down reps, I mean, those are different speed on slants than Ayuk and Debo's. So you really have to have some anticipation on those throws. So if you can get more vertical with those throws and allow them to run underneath some of Jimmy's balls, then hopefully, we can start keeping those safeties where they're supposed to be. Kittle can start getting explosives. Dwelly started playing well last week. I really see it as nothing but a positive and allowing some of our backs that are unproven, minus maybe Jeff Wilson, to get a lot more running lanes, which now just opens up the entire playbook. And that's where we start putting together 14, 15 play touchdown drives consistently.
Yes, it will be super exciting to get those new weapons involved in this offense. Can't let Danny Gray and Ray McLeod fall out of the rotation just because you've now gone from a quarterback that has a better deep ball to one that historically hasn't been as consistent with it. Let's see if we can improve in that area. Sean, I'm excited to get out there to Denver. It's going to be a thrilling game. Let's beat Russell Wilson. Good, sir.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Hey, have a great time. I look forward to your coverage out there.
I definitely will. I'm looking forward to doing some pregame videos because I don't think there's a forecast for rain. So in the parking lot in Denver, look for those, and obviously the postgame. Always great talking with you, Sean.
Do you have a prediction since it's already Thursday?
It is already Thursday. I was going to do the prediction on Jack's show tomorrow. I'm certainly picking the Niners to win. I will tease that right now. I'll give the score prediction on the show with Jack tomorrow at the end of the segment.
All right. I got 28-6.
28-6. I love it. I love it. Domination. I need one of those. Can't have the heart attack game.
Jimmy averages 28 points a game consistently across the board. He almost did it again with 27, only getting 3 from when Trey was in the game. So, I mean, to me, he's going to stay consistent there. Defense, if you give up those big random plays, I'm not accounting for that. I think it's going to be very similar to the first 2 games. We're going to shut down the run. Russell's going to get booed again in this game, and I really think it's going to be a statement game for everyone to be like, damn it, the 49ers are back.
I love it. Someone just dropped the 49ers defense in one of my fantasy leagues. I'm going to make them pay for that and swoop that up. I appreciate the call, Sean.
Always. I appreciate you, Rob. Thank you, buddy.
See you, my friend. All right. We are bringing Swan Song into the program. Just want to get to a couple of comments. Quesadilla Thrilla saying, Rob, if Jimmy wins the Super Bowl, do we re-sign him? If he wins the Super Bowl and he plays a role in that, and it's not one of those situations where half the fan base is saying, we won in spite of Jimmy, I think you do, like a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but then it comes down to how much is some other team going to swoop in and try to pay him. I mean, that's a quality problem to have. If we get there, I'll be glad to be facing that problem. Kurt coming in, Sneakerhead on the channel. Rob, do teams' opinions of Jimmy and the Niners offense change since last season? Because it feels like outside media likes him a lot more than last year. Just the everyone likes the backup. It is the underdog story, the return of Jimmy G. They like storylines. So I think that there's an optimism about Jimmy rejoining this team because of how deep San Francisco is. And then that becomes a shine on Jimmy Garoppolo. Let us bring in Swan Song to the program. Swan, how are you doing, my friend? You're muted just in case you are talking at the moment. There it is.
Hey, I'm doing better, Rob.
Yeah,
I I I was ready to go crazy on this call.
I could tell. I could
On
tell.
Tuesday, I was ready. I charted down all my notes, and then I was gonna present them. And after
I
listening to Sean, every time I listen to Sean, it's like I get a change of heart. Okay, but since I don't want to mention this again, I mean I probably will, but um I do think, and me go off a quote. Can I do that? Can I humor you guys with a quote?
Absolutely.
Move not unless you see an advantage. Use not your troops unless there is something to be gained. Fight not unless the position is critical. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Okay. So the reason why I said that quote, you guys could probably guess, is that I don't think Shanahan tried to intentionally get Trey hurt or anything messy like that. I think his
Right.
plan was good in the sense of, yes, he's trying to fake it until he makes it with Lance. Totally get that. I do agree that by the end of that game, or by the second quarter, or the next drive of that game, you'd probably was going to see a deep shot from Trey, right?
Right.
Things were aligned, like that Joelle play that Jimmy threw to open Joelle. That would have been, Trey would have hit that, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm pissed off about Kyle is that I think he just got a little bit too reckless with it. Like, when things are going right, and I just think the danger of Trey being hurt as part of his thinking or was not there. And I get it. They all say this, they've all said, hey, Juice came on the other day or yesterday and talked about 50-50 chance, and that to me was dirty. His little cute chance parlor trick. But yes, the chance of Trey getting hurt on any play is, let's just say it's a constant. Let's say it's 10%, right? But statistics, a field of study that is there, tells you that yes, the chance doesn't increase, but the probability of an event happening from that chance increases or can be predictable.
Yes.
If I'm going to swim, go ahead.
No, I was just going to respond to that because I feel like there's going to be more points, and I don't want to lose this one because we're in agreement on this one. It's about risk management and not risk avoidance. You cannot avoid risk altogether. This is the NFL. Risk is always there. Risk management is far different to what you're referring to. There's a chance you get hurt on every possession that you run the football. The more times that you run the football, the more the probability of one of those instances leading to injury becomes higher. So we are in lockstep about this. And to me, the point of that is, like, if people are aligned on the fact that, hey, you do believe that Trey should have designed runs, that, hey, he's not an outside speed guy, so there are going to be some interior runs in there. It comes down to the number of runs. And to me, that's a very reasonable argument to make of, like, were there too many? Was the trend heading in the right direction? And so forth. That to me is reasonable. It's the leap to rage and Kyle Shanahan should be fired that seems unreasonable to me if you agree with the concept of Trey should be running. Trey is a power runner. So going back to that, not to cut you off there, just wanted to respond to that first.
No, it's excellent what you said, because a lot of those fans, you got to remember, fans go on pure emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people can't filter it, right? Or they go lash out like that so they can be calmed down by someone that's more reasonable. Right? There's a full spectrum of that, right?
Sure.
Sometimes when you see fans go crazy, they just really want someone to say to them, dude, it's going to be all right. You know what I mean? That's what they're screaming for, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's what they're screaming for. I thought what you said, it really got me mad, because I was like, you're insulting the intelligence of your fan base by putting up, hey, I'm from Harvard. I'm a math dude. Like, bro, like the critical thinking is not there when you make a statement like that. So anyways, that kind of got me
I think what happens here, because I find myself doing this too. I'm speaking for Juice here, but when you object to the classification of, like, fire Shanahan, I'm going through rage and everyone should hear that. When you become the defender of the opposite side, it puts you in that awkward position. even like for me, I felt, was Shanahan running Trey too many times? Yes, absolutely. I would have rather that be fewer times, but I acknowledge that it's a set of circumstances that led to it. First game in Chicago with the monsoon game, the second game early on, heavy run, but my guess was it would even out. And over the course of a season, again, would even out as well. To me, that's a much more reasonable conversation.
Yeah.
But like Juice, I get put on the other side, and then everyone thinks, well, if you're not on this side, you must be on the polar opposite, instead of the fact that I'm just right here. And I think this is too extreme.
And I get it. He's protecting his coach. I get it. I understand that. At the same time, I think it could have been done a little bit better. But as far as also to the point of, of course, Kyle knows what Trey is, but people thinking that because Kyle ran Trey the way he did is that he doesn't trust Trey or he doesn't see that. I think there is some truth to that, but it also, what I saw in the preseason, and I was telling everyone is too spooked about what we saw in the Vikings game, right? The key, it's not to me, and I've been listening to a lot of, Quincy Avery, Greg Pinelli, a lot of these QB coaches talking about, it's not really the throwing motion that is the thing that Lance really needs. Yes, he could use it. He can improve on it for sure, 1,000%. What he needs is the reps, right? It's because he needs to trust what he sees, trust what he doesn't see, all of those things in between, right? Trust how, if he could make the 3-step drop back and be smooth with it and throw the ball, or does he sketch a little bit because of his lack of experience? Like those type of things, right? I think that he is an accurate passer. He's just an inconsistent passer. There's a difference, right? It's because all the other things that apply to being a quarterback, of being a young quarterback, that's how the inconsistency can show itself, right? Because it's not just, it's Trey Lance throwing motion that's making him inconsistent. Yes, that's an element, but that's not the biggest element. The biggest element is reps, right? So what I mean by that is the one thing that when this first happened, I instantly thought, okay, where does this put Trey Lance's future? It's for sure up in the air, obviously, right? What does Kyle do next year? Does he learn from this? Does he learn that, hey, you know what? Yes, we know that Trey Lance should be better in some of those mechanical things that we talked about, right? But like I said, him as a passer, the things that he really needs to do, the thing that needs to be done is the actual reps. Will he get that opportunity? Will he, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying to never run Trey Lance. That's not what I'm saying. Right. I'm just saying be very judicious about it. And going back to my initial statement, like risk mitigation, risk reward, put those things into your mind of when you should run them, and especially in between the tackles. Like if it's outside,
that's
I'm
fair.
Okay.
But it is fair to point out that in the risk reward trade-off, right? It was 2 plays earlier on 2nd and 8, same play, handoff to Debo that went for 51. So the reward is potentially there.
No, I'm not saying not
the risk
run
is
the play.
high.
Yeah, I'm not saying not run that play. And part of this is up to Trey too. Right?
Yes.
I'm not saying to not run that play. Run that play. But part of this is up to Trey too, to like, hey, kid, I know the sad part is I think he did it to win over the team as well, right? Like he's
hold on to the ball,
he's an earnest young man. He's trying to prove everything that he can. Not just for that moment, but I just think that's how he's wired right now, right? But he's got to learn. You can't do it all, kid. Like just be safe, because like he said in the press conference, I know what I put my team in if I get out of the game. That's before Jimmy signed, of course, blah, blah, blah. Thank God we have Jimmy.
Thank God. No, it's a huge move. Like everyone who criticized this, myself included, saying that it was going to be a drama show all year. Thank God they didn't listen to me and they just re-signed Jimmy Garoppolo, because there is a huge difference.
And you know how critical I've been about Jimmy, but I have never rooted against Jimmy. Never. It's
nonsensical to root against a player on your own team, right? Isn't that crazy?
I'll be critical of him after the game for sure. I'll add my spice. Yeah, I won't give him the rope that I would to like a rookie. Like say if Trey messes up a game as a rookie, I'll give him rope. But when a 6-year veteran messes up, I'm not giving you any rope. I'm sorry. Maybe that's my immaturity. But that's
I'm giving less for sure.
Exactly.
For sure. Swan, what's your prediction for the outcome of this one?
I think we're gonna beat them. I think we're going to beat them.
Any score prediction?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to go with 24-10.
24-10. I'll take that. Hey, 2-touchdown lead. That's me sitting in the stands, enjoying the company of Niner faithful and not worrying about a victory in the last quarter. And I will take that.
I want to add these two things that we should look for in this game. Okay.
Go for it.
So we know that the 49ers have averaged 182.5 yards a game, right? For the first two games, right? We know obviously that part of that is the competition we played, right? And part of it is having Trey as a running element, right? And the fact that he could stretch the field, right? So it's going to be interesting to see when we face Denver, what our run production is going to be, right? Because we know how they defended us last year, right? It's tough, right? They might line up 6 in the box sometime, like not 6 in the box, 6 on the line. You know that defense that they've shown before, 6 on the line, right? And thankfully we have Kittle back, and it's going to be tough trading again. Yes, I always thought even with Jimmy having not a long ball, if you will, or not being good with the long ball, but any NFL quarterback can still throw the ball 50 to 60 yards. Anyone can do it. Jimmy has the arm power to do that, right? He just has to do it on platform, right? He has to do it on platform, but you need to always try to stretch out the offense. You have to try to go for at least once or twice. That's like, to me, at least when growing up, that's football fundamentals to me. That you have to go for the long shots, especially when teams are playing so tight on you.
Absolutely.
Right? You have to do it.
You got to take those shots. You got to test the defense. You got to get them off of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And like I said, at this point, I don't blame any of this situation on Jimmy. I think Jimmy, for what I've seen, is a good teammate. Is he the quarterback that you hope for? For me, no. But I could say I'm pretty sure he's a good teammate. And I'm pretty sure we do not have a chance in hell if he was not playing for this team right now. I'm pretty sure we don't have a chance.
That's an absolute fact. He's a great teammate. I mean, the fact that he was willing to renegotiate the contract did the organization a solid, even if it also gave him money in his pocket. The locker room has loved him consistently. And I think that you know why, because he has been a great teammate. It's easy to see why he would be adored in there. The way he speaks about Trey, it's easy to see why Trey likes him. He's a good guy. He may not be a top tier quarterback, but he's a top tier teammate. I think that's an easy one to say. Swan, I always appreciate the call in. By the way, we should try to play with it. There's a little clipping that happens on your call. I don't know if it's a connection issue, but it seems like this time around was just a little bit more than last. We'll try to work on that and clean it up so we can get a great audio clean connection in there.
Yeah,
always a pleasure.
I get a new mic. It's like I have one of those ones where it's the adapter in the back, and after a while it wears and tears. I just need to get a USB one.
Nice. I know that need.
All right. Thanks, Rob. It was good.
Absolutely, Swan. Enjoy the game, man.
You too.
All right. We are bringing CJ Gray into the stream. Just one moment. Going to get to a couple of comments here. I like this one from Kurt. Happened a little while ago. Wanted to get to it. Rob, my thoughts on Shanahan. He needs to be able to use Lance for at least a season, but I don't think he should be selecting another quarterback if Lance doesn't pan out. I got to say, this is an interesting take that I hadn't considered. Like, if you're Jed York, do you say, hey, if this one doesn't pan out, like, I'm sorry, you're not the guy to be selecting quarterbacks. If you're going to keep Shanahan, you can't tell him that he can't select another quarterback. But it does raise the issue of, is Shanahan adept at selecting quarterbacks and developing them? I'm still very optimistic for Trey Lance, so I don't think we're going to need to draft another quarterback. I still believe this one is going to work out. Unfortunately, it just got pushed to next season. All right, want to bring in CJ Gray to the discussion. CJ, welcome to the stream, my friend.
What's going on, Rob?
Man, I am glad that we are inching closer to Denver because I feel like after we've played that game as a fan base, we can move forward a little bit. This week is necessary. It's necessary to process the loss. It's necessary to sort of allow that sadness to come out for some to vent some rage, for sure. And then I think it's time to acknowledge that, like, hey, we're in support of this team, and this team still looks like it has a damn good chance at doing some things.
Well, my initial reaction was I was angry and at at first, but it's just like once you get over the emotions, then you start trying to consume resources to try to make sense of the situation. Different podcasts. Of course, I've watched the all 22 of the game. I've rewatched the game, and I've listened to the Quincy Avery last night with Eric Crocker and Eric Pinelli and stuff like that, and just collect data and stuff like that. But the bottom line is to try to get to the speed up version of where I was going is that he struggled in the preseason. He struggled in camp. The completion percentages were pretty low, and a lot of the quick game stuff wasn't happening for him right away. And I think that's from timing and reps, and a lot of that has a lot of stuff to go into that. But and then we already have mentioned that his outside running is not as great as like your Murray or your Jackson or Allen or your other or Fields or some of your other hyper athletic quarterbacks. So
right.
The best way to get his physical skill, best way to use his physical skill set is between the tackles with the power stuff and the read option stuff. And so to be fair, you can get that ankle break could have happened on a sack. The ankle break could have happened on a quarterback sneak because a lot of bodies land on quarterbacks and land on people and on top of people and stuff like that. And it just kind of was a bad break. As far as mismanagement of Shanahan, that was pretty much to take advantage of his skill set. And it also, too, is not just Trey running to get him used to it. There's also his teammates that's got to get used to it. Shanahan calling plays for him. That's got to be a thing. And then you think about the games he's played, they're spread out all over the place. He's never really put together 3, 4, 5 consecutive games so everybody can gel together and figure out what can happen.
Yes.
And then there's a strategic piece of showing the quarterback run is that now you put the defense in 3 different conflicts. Is he handing it to the running back? Is he keeping it to run? Or is he going to just fake it to the running back and is he going to throw it? And these thoughts going in defensive heads to get to NFL is about a game of seconds. So if you spend a second or 2 seconds thinking about something, that could be a 40-yard play, and that could be something that Shanahan can take advantage of you off, and it makes our offense more multiple that way. That's why he wanted a guy like Lance so he can evolve his offense. It's
so true because on defense, you watch Talanoa Hufanga, who's not the fastest guy, but he plays without hesitation, and that's the difference for him.
Yeah.
Conversely, to your point, if you can make the defense think, it slows them down enough to even the stars, you can blow by them, right? You can get those big explosive plays.
And so that's the whole point of the matter. To sit here and blame Shanahan, sit here, fire Shanahan. It just was a hard week for me to get through listening to that stuff.
Me too.
Because when I put on this gear and I walk outside, man, there's a sense of pride, and I understand that amongst football fans, when looking back at me with this gear on, there's a sense of respect, and that has happened since 2019 with this Shanahan Lynch organization, and they say, "Hey, man, fire them and get them out of here," and just because somebody got hurt, which happens in football, like Elijah Mitchell got hurt the week prior on some freak, a helmet crashed into his knee. I mean, stuff happens in football. It's just unfortunate that it took place with us. Now, the fortunate side of it is Jimmy is still here, and I was upset about that, but it turned out he's here, and now he's able to go in there and he knows our offense. He knows the people and the coaching staff, and everybody knows him, and he has a familiarity. And so today, he probably is somebody better to go into this primetime game than a developing quarterback. Now I caution that within 10, 12 games of starts by Trey Lance, now that needle kind of turns the other way because of a talent perspective.
Yes.
But right now, we basically got the 2021 squad going. I would argue, this is a controversial statement, I would say our line is better this year than last year, our offensive line.
It seems that way to this point, at least to start the season. Maybe it's the competition. Maybe once we see Denver and LA, we'll change our mind about the offensive line. But to this point, with the way in which the offensive line did start last year in 2021, felt like Mac got himself off to a slow start. Brendel has looked good, other than the one botch snap on the play down by the goal line. But that's a fluke thing that does happen on occasion. If it doesn't happen again, I'm not going to sweat it. The two young gentlemen are looking spectacular.
Yeah,
It seemed like they're just going to get better.
Yeah, Burford and Banks look pretty good. And, I mean, they're young. They seem to be athletic in the run game and so forth. We got McGlinchey back. He's an upgrade from Compton from last year. And then, of course, we got Trent. And so I like what that's doing. And I think that we got some more explosive players than we had last year in McLeod and Gray. If they could find a way to incorporate them and get them in the offense more. And then our defense is upgraded because we had poor secondary play to the point where the coach is just saying, hey, play 15 yards off the ball. Just don't grab hold. Just don't screw it up. And now we got real cover. We got real corners out there now. We got Travarius Ward and we got Emmanuel Mosley. And then, of course, Hufanga, who I'm calling Hubanga right now, and then soon, and Gibson's even playing well, and he's the replacement guy. So when Ward comes back, I'm looking at an upgraded defense, and also our special teams is probably more improved right now.
Yes. The starting position for the San Francisco 49ers has been far better. We were 29th in that last year. Jack Hammer put that stat out. We have climbed. I think we're in the early teens or something like that.
Yeah. And so things are better than 2021 as far as a team standpoint. So I still like our chances. Now, the last thing I'm going to try to get into before I get out of here is the whole Russell Wilson thing. I think.
Okay.
Russell Wilson, as you misunderstood me when I wrote in Russell Wilson a little bit slower, ? You misunderstood me yesterday. I was actually saying, yes, he is in fact slower.
He is slower. Age, father time, being undefeated has caught up with Mr. Wilson.
And it's like, how many old running quarterbacks has there been in the history of the game? There's a lot of young running quarterbacks.
Yeah. Other than like the resurgence of Randall Cunningham towards the end of his career and maybe a little bit from Michael Vick, but I feel like those are two elite running quarterbacks.
And so Russell don't look like that no more. I don't know if he could get away from Bosa. I don't know Drake Jackson. I don't know if he can get away from Amenahue. I don't know if he can get away from these guys. And then if the corners and secondary is locking things up for an extra tick, that gives an extra tick for time for the defensive line to arrive to do something. So I really like our chances Sunday. I know you got score predictions going on. I won't provide one. I've gotten out of the score prediction business after Chicago game.
It's not a bad idea, man. Tell me though, because the biggest fear I have on defense is Denver's rushing attack against the 49ers. To this point, obviously we've been stellar, but I feel like that's because both of those games took weird turns. In Chicago, the weather, and then in Seattle, we got up big and they stopped running. But I thought in both of the games, each team had some success running against us, and it's obviously a pretty ferocious attack there with two good running backs in Denver. Do you believe that the 49ers have the edge, or is Denver going to get the ball? Is Denver going to be able to move the ball on the ground?
I don't really see it. I don't see it. I just see the linebackers and Huff. I just see the two of them eating. The interior, our tackles have done a good job of standing things up. Now it's not been glamorous. They're not busting into the backfield and hitting tackles for loss. Right. But they're doing a lot of good job of just drawing attention.
And Hassan Ridgeway did have a great bull rush where he did push the center back into the quarterback there. That was a great one.
And so, but that was an isolated event there. But for the most part, they're commanding, like Kinlaw one play, I think in week 1, I think he had 4 guys on him or something like that. And he was throwing 4 guys off of him to try to get to the play. And so if you can get guys that do command attention, then you allow your linebackers and that safety Hubanga who I'm calling them now. I'm just
Bang.
shooting through the gaps and busting somebody down. And then once you stop the run, and now it's third down, and now it's time for the lineman to go eat. And I know they want to pay Russell Wilson back. We've already checked Seattle off the box.
Yes.
We hungry to get some Russell Wilson, man.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. CJ, I always love conversing with you, my friend. Always love your takes. Always love your measured approach. Like your logic that you work through. Always a great call, my friend.
I appreciate it, Rob. Take care.
Absolutely. We're going to get this W on Sunday. I don't care what the final score is as long as we get the W walking out. I'm going to be there. It'll be my first road victory of the year. I'm feeling it. I'm excited.
Can't wait for Carolina. My only.
Yes, sir. All right, CJ. You take care, my friend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game.
All right.
All right. We are sorry. Alan brought you in right away. Thought I was removing CJ. I'll be right back to you, Alan. Just 1 second. I'll give you a chance to unmute. I'm just going to take these super chats and I'll be right back, Alan. All right. Godzilla comes in. Godzilla, I want to recognize this one. First and foremost, to those that are here watching the video, if you're here, smash the like button for me. Hit that like button. Help me amplify that signal. Godzilla is here saying, you blocked me from the chat the other day. It's all good, though. Niners are about to shut out Russell Wilson. First and foremost, hopefully I didn't block. I can't think of anyone that I've actually blocked in a long time other than the bots that come in that are trying to push, some shady stuff. But when it's just someone, I usually go timeout, 5-minute timeout, and only if it's like the energy is a little bit off. So I don't recall what the comments were. Hopefully it was a case where it sort of made sense that maybe the back and forth was happening and felt a little distracting to the chat. But regardless, I appreciate you coming back. I appreciate you expressing your fervor for the Niners. And I am in complete lockstep that the 49ers are going to take down Russell Wilson. A shutout would be spectacular, Godzilla. Again, thank you for the super chat. Chris Royal coming in with the super chat. Great content, Rob. Smash that like button, y'all. Appreciate Chris. Local here in Salem. All right. Can't wait to watch a game down there in Salem with you there, Chris, and the crew, the Niner crew in Salem. All right. Let us get into our next caller. We're bringing in Alan to the stream. Alan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Again, excited to move on to Denver because it feels like it allows us to emotionally process everything that's happened this week, which admittedly has been very stressful. I had my Tuesday mailbag show where maybe I was a little more volatile than I usually am. The emotions are running high, and the frustration with the fan base being at each other's throats, it sometimes does drag me down into it as well. I'm feeling like I've moved past that, and I'm back to more optimism about the future.
Yeah, me too. My wife's actually a Broncos fan, so this weekend is
good
battle at home.
Yeah, this is a Civil War game for you, right? It's
Yes.
rough. Someone's sleeping on the couch after the game. That's just the reality of it.
I hope not. I think we're better than that, but
Yes, I do too. If someone is, maybe that's a problem. That's a sign of problems for sure. No, that's good. Bigger people just set aside whomever was talking the most trash and move past it.
well, I'm a Giants fan. She's a Rockies fan, and the Giants just swept them. So
You've already
kinda-
started the trash talk.
the trash talk starts early in our house, but we're both really like our sports, and then we let it simmer down a little bit, and then we're good.
That's awesome.
You just gotta have to be, I don't know. There's a lot of Giants fans marrying Dodger fans out there too, so it's just kind of like, okay, I don't know how that works. I can't do it.
It's wild to me. I'm here in Portland and currently dating out there in the world. And when I see a Seahawks picture, I'm out. I'm out. I'm sorry. Like, you might be the greatest person in the world, but if I've got to put up with a Seahawks chant, I can't do it. Broncos would be okay. Seahawks, no. Hard pass.
Yeah, totally. We only see them once every 4 years, maybe late in the playoffs. But hey, we've seen how the Niners take care of the Broncos when it came to the Super Bowl and against Elway.
Yes.
So I still got all that past stuff over her anyway. So I'm hoping for the win. I want the win, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Yes, we will. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that the Niners defense is going to be as ferocious against a potentially higher caliber opponent in Denver? At least at the beginning of the season, we were saying that roster is significantly more talented than Seattle, than Chicago. And if you look at their game against Seattle, if not for those 2 goal line fumbles, they probably would have won it, maybe handily, maybe by 2 scores. Do you think that Denver just hasn't put it all together yet and we have something to be fearful of? Or will this Niner defense be able to shut down the Broncos?
I think the Niners defense has shown that they should be able to just shut them down the whole game. There might be a few drives that we just shake our heads and we're like, okay, that's just Russ being Russ. But I think we're number 1 defense. We definitely stepped it up last week. We showed it totally in the first half against Chicago. That monsoon just kind of killed everything. And then I think we'll take care of the Broncos. I don't want to put a score on it because when I put scores on, I never see them.
It's too much of a jinx for you. I'm okay with that. But you are firm on believing that the Niners are taking home this one and will control it in this game.
Yeah, I don't think the Broncos have found their niche yet because Russell Wilson, new receivers, new tight ends, new running back, new scheme. And he didn't play in the preseason. I think it takes more than 3 games for something like that, like those jives to really happen. Just look at Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. He's been around forever, and he's got some rookie receivers that he's just refusing to throw it to, basically. And
very true.
Living on that old guard.
Now, speaking of rookie receivers, do you think Danny Gray gets any run in this one? Will Danny Gray have himself a deep catch against Denver?
I think so. I would love to see Danny Gray get something like a pass from like the Niner 45, just deep bomb, touchdown. That'd be I could see something like that happening, especially since Jimmy's talking about wanting to throw it deep. I want to see him throw it deep.
Yes. I do too. Jimmy's talking about it. Memories of 2017. I remember 2017. Those games were pretty damn exciting, and I'd like to get back to that. By the way, in the chat, people are delighted that we have a similar appearance. The bald head and beard on the 2 of us just really sent them to a tizzy. And yeah, I took it as a little bit of joking at yours and my expense, and I'm okay with that. It seemed lighthearted, and I can smile. I can smile at being similar in that regard.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've been balding since I was like 24 years old, so it's just
it's part of the life, my friend.
Yeah, you just learn to live with it, and you move on and live your life. And people love it, people hate it. Doesn't really matter. I got to be me.
That's right. Hey, the ladies love it. That's what's important. They like, I'm just kidding. Yeah. That's me. I'm going too far. All right. So what do you see as a key to this game? What do you think is going to be the difference between a win and a loss? What's the most important thing for the 49ers in this one? Is it the deep shots? Is it getting the run game going? Or is it the defense and getting after Russell Wilson?
I think it's twofold. I think the defense needs to go after Wilson either with Bosa or with Jackson getting in there. And then I think we got to get the running game going, whether it's Wilson, Mack, or Trey Mason. I think Mason needs to get some touches in there, at least 4 to 10 touches in there. And I think getting Mack in there in the red zone down near the goal line, because he's a little bit bigger of a back, not so elusive, to kind of help juice out down there and just take the brunt of those hits down there.
Yes. I would love for Jordan Mason to get some run in this one. It will be intriguing to see if it is he or Marlon Mack that gets the carries when they spell Jeff Wilson Jr. I think that is absolutely something to watch out for. Alan, I love this dialogue, man. I appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Look forward to doing it again.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the game on Sunday night. I hope you end up with the bragging rights. I hope it's a good game for your wife. I hope that she enjoys herself, and I hope that you have the bragging rights at the end, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Enjoy your evening.
You too.
All right. We are bringing Jaguayo into the stream. Jaguayo 56 bringing him in. Kurt's calling out Jordan Mason, ultimate fantasy sleeper. I've grabbed him in a lot of my leagues and just fell short in one where someone swooped in early. I think they watched my podcast and they heard me talking about him. I shouldn't have given away my secrets live on air. All right, we are bringing in Jaguayo 56 to the stream. Jaguayo, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
You know, I'm doing better. Like I said, it has been a tough week. It's been an emotionally taxing week, and we're moving forward. So I think about it less, but every now and then, you know, what happened on Sunday does come up, and it does make me sad. I am heartbroken for Trey, and although I feel good about having Jimmy on the roster, I still feel good about this team. It doesn't mean that I'm not holding on to that sadness and that regret of what could have been in this season.
I want to, the hope that we all send our prayers to the young man, and hopefully he gets back on his rehabilitation and the road to recovery, and hope he comes back strong next year. That's my wishes for him.
Mine too. I hope that it's a complete recovery and that he is able to do everything that he was able to do and then some, because he'll have more time to work on understanding the offense, getting that throwing motion locked in such that under live fire bullets, it doesn't revert. And you would think he will be better next season. Not as good as if he had had the full year to start, understandably, but will have a chance to get better before stepping back onto the field.
Exactly. So I think as far as the Denver game, Russell Wilson has given me PTSD, and I'm still recovery of that. So I'm kind of like, I'm always a worrier. And so do I have confidence that we have a better team? Yes. But in the back of my mind, it just won't let me go. There's a little seed that's been implanted in there, burned in there. And I think that, I'm hoping that he doesn't make the kind of plays that he's made in the past against us. And I'm hoping that the defense can contain him. And I hope they learn from what happened with Fields, although Fields is a younger man, and he's has more ability right now than Russell Wilson. But it's also a good thing to learn, and they can use it going forward against Kyler, and hopefully they learn their lesson from Fields.
Yes, Fields absolutely made us pay. And the lesson there was, just because you're having a solid game doesn't mean that you can let up on any single play, because that schoolyard play where he's able to escape the pocket and one of the receivers isn't plastered, that's all it takes in a close game. And you could imagine a game against Denver coming down to a close one. I mean, I'd be much more comfortable if, like Sean 951 and Kurt are talking about, that we relive the Super Bowl against Denver and just smash them 55-10, but I'm not predicting that to be the outcome of this one. So one or two plays here or there by Wilson, one or two big plays on special teams can be all it takes to sway the tide of a game, much like what happened in Chicago. And the 49ers defense has to be disciplined. To me, what the question is are you overly aggressive, or do you play disciplined and you still rack up some sacks because you're a great defense, but you don't miss on those big plays and allow Wilson to break something?
Yeah, I think that with the emergence of Hufanga, I think that we're more solid than I think we've ever been. Even like when Wilson was still with the Seahawks, for the past 2 years, 3 years, we're a better back defense, and the back with the safeties and corners, we're much improved. And I think with our pressure, because we've always put pressure on Russell, even when he was with the Seahawks, we always put pressure. But that guy just, has beat us, because obviously we can't hold down the pressure and keep him all the time contained. But I think we're better now, and so I'm confident that we can do that. I think that the important thing, though, is going to be, that we, and I always harp on this, but when we get into the red zone, we have to score touchdowns. We have to score touchdowns, especially this game, so to make a message to them and get them, and especially with Hackett, the way he's been calling the plays or not calling the plays, whichever way you see it.
Right.
And the thing about it is, if we can score touchdowns and make a statement early in the game and keep the pressure on, and I hope that Shanahan can take a couple of long shots with Gray, one or two shots, just to kind of loosen up their defense a little bit, and then I hope that Jordan Mason it makes the some couple of good plays and builds on something that sets a foundation going forward, because I really like the guy. I really like him. I like the way he runs, very aggressive slasher, and has good vision, and so I'm hoping for more of that for this game.
I was encouraged by Chris Forster talking today about Jordan Mason and potentially getting a chance underneath the lights. That's what I'm most excited in this running back room. I will say, though, Jeff Wilson Jr. in week 2 looked markedly different than he did in week 1. So I think that he's the guy I'm glad I'm starting on most of those fantasy teams. Jordan Mason's the guy that I want to see because the explosiveness is there, and he seems to have that physical nature that Jeff Wilson Jr. does. Feels like it could be a great 1-2 punch. It will be interesting to see if Marlon Mack gets in there before Jordan Mason, or what the order is to the running backs.
Yes, and I hope we just continue to play smart football, and limit the penalties. One penalty, I'll take it every single game, and also the offensive line, has just really played really, really well, better than expected as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And hopefully, I mean, we have 2 rookie guards, because Banks didn't play. So,
right.
And Brendel has been solid. And so that gives me a lot of hope. And I think if we continue with our run game, and then with Jimmy throwing, his passes, short passes, and having Debo go for some yak yards, and I think we can do a good job. I think we can win. I think it's going to be, I don't care. I might be wrong, but that's okay. I think it'll be 23-14.
23-14. I like it. A little bit closer, 9-point lead, not the double-digit win, but I will take that. Excellent prediction. And I think that you've laid out some great keys to this game that absolutely we need to keep our eye on throughout. And this is a deep roster. I'm very excited to see us with a bit more of a test against Denver.
Exactly. All right. I'll let you go, and you stay blessed. Your family stay blessed, and go Niners.
Go Niners. The same to you and your family as well. Thank you so much for calling in. Always do appreciate our conversations.
Okay. Goodbye.
Take care. All right, we are bringing in Elvis and Bullpup 33 as our last 2 on the stream. Just going to hit this comment real quick. 2 of them. Sean 951 says Kittle hasn't played much. Ward hasn't played. Mitchell out after the half of game 1. We're a deep team. When they get back, it's on like Donkey Kong. Man, I really wanted to get that one out without flubbing it, because on like Donkey Kong is one of my favorite sayings. Let's say another saying for me that I enjoy. DJ Jones showing the barbecue sauce. I had to. Mixed emotions. Yep, mixed emotions about DJ Jones here as well. Let's bring in Elvis to the building. Elvis, welcome to the stream, sir.
How are you, Rob?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to go up against Russell Wilson, feeling like we've got a better chance to knock him off this time than in the past, where we've gone 16-4 against the gentleman. Sure, he's not with Seattle, but we just beat them. So it's like the best of both worlds. Beat Seattle, go on to beat Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I remember last time we talked that, all we really wanted was at least to beat Seattle twice. And then obviously now with Russell in the Broncos, he's always a threat. He always somehow likes to bring his best game against the 49ers.
Yes, he
regardless
does.
Even if he's playing for the Broncos. So I just hope our defense contains him. But, I'm looking forward to this game, definitely.
Me too. What's the most exciting component of this game? What are the keys to watch for you? What are you going to be looking for when the Niners are on offense?
Hopefully, like what you and Sean talked about earlier with Jimmy throwing deep. I hope that everyone gets behind him and encourage Jimmy to throw deep, because I think obviously it'll be another aspect to the other teams that put tape on Jimmy, wondering, oh hey, he's starting to throw deep. We got to change our defense. So, you know what I mean? I know it was all mainly for trade, but see Jimmy throw around like 2017, it looks promising.
Yes, it does. I mean, I got to say that the ball to Ayuk that did hit him in the hands, but fell
Yeah,
incomplete.
definitely.
That was a pretty ball
Man, that
he
was
threw
money.
there.
Yeah.
You know? And
I was surprised. I thought you got it, but then I saw the ball pop out and I was like, oh, dang.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that got me as well. I thought it gave me hope that maybe something has changed for Jimmy, whether it is less pressure because of the situation he finds himself in. Because I will admit, I have thought for a long time that Kyle Shanahan adds unnecessary pressure to his quarterbacks. Like, if he could adopt more of the Harbaugh mentality, Harbaugh with Alex Smith, banging him on the shoulder pads, hyping him up before the game. Like, that was awesome. That was the way in which I
miss
want
Harbaugh.
man, get me hyped up. And
yeah,
this one,
man, definitely.
it feels
Definitely.
like Kyle
When Harbaugh
Shanahan
used to
wants
hype
to
up Cap and
criticize a
then
little bit
man,
more.
that was the best.
It was.
You
It was
just watch it and you get hyped up yourself.
Yes, it fired me up before the games.
Yeah,
man,
definitely. Maybe now with Talanoa Hufanga flying around, man, he is a revelation. He is a revelation. I was so happy. Like, everyone was kind of bagging him last year, but it's with everyone. If he wants to get reps and once they get time to working within the system or the Miko system, man, he is awesome.
He is awesome. I have to apologize for having my doubts, right? I thought for sure we should add competition at that position. The Niners were like, we don't need competition. We got Talanoa Hufanga. The Niners were absolutely right about that one. By the way, I see in the chat that people are fascinated to know, I think we talked about this last time you were on, where you are from, but people want to know, they want me to ask where you're from, where the accent hails from on the continent.
Rob, I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
It's 10 o'clock right now, Friday, and you guys are still Thursday afternoon or evening?
Thursday afternoon at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
what time? A Sunday night game. What time is that going to start for you?
Rob, sorry. You go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry for talking over you. So when will a Sunday night game start for you? It'll be Monday at some random time?
No, it's always Monday morning. Early, right now, because the time zone hasn't changed yet. The early games at 3 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning. Once the time zone change, once daylight saving happens, it will go to 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so that's the earliest games.
Nice,
and then
man. You got to get up early to watch
about
football
7:30, 8 o'clock, and then the Sunday night game will be at about 10:30 Monday morning.
Oh, that's a perfect time. That is ideal.
Oh, it's kind of hard because I'm at work.
Oh, no.
But it's all right. I'll listen to the radio and just keep it in my ear. And it's funny because I'm working and I was screaming, yeah! And everyone's like, what the
hell? I love it, man. I absolutely love it. That is fantastic. Kurt coming in to say that's dedication. I'm all about it. Absolutely all about it. Okay, so on defense.
Love my team.
Yeah, on defense, what do you think the keys to the game are? How is this Niners defense going to shut down Denver?
I think I'm not too worried about the run game. It's more I'm worried about Russ.
Yeah.
Because like what I said, every time he plays the Niners, he tends to bring his A game. He's always got something to prove against the Niners. And that's why I said, even if he's played for the Broncos, it's still Russell Wilson.
It's so
even
true.
People said he's probably slowed down. Nah. He still managed to find a way to move out of the pocket and somehow throw the ball down the field. But I'm not worried now because secondary is 100 times better. And once Jimmy's back, oh my gosh, Jimmy and Huff, game over.
That's going to be a fantastic pairing. And I have to say, to have Mooney Ward on one side and Emmanuel Mosley on the other with Samuel Womack and the nickel, forget about it. This secondary is phenomenal. You put Huff and Jimmy Ward back there, man.
Either one of them. Either one of them can knock anyone out with their hits.
So true. It's awesome. So true. I think it's fair to be worried about Wilson, and that's my hope is that the defensive line doesn't go too aggressive, not trying to rack up too many sacks, play more in contain, making sure that you keep everything in front of you, no big plays.
Yeah, I think if they try to chase too much of the sacks, yes, I would love a lot of sacks, but if they could just play more disciplined, you know what I mean? Because Russ is always so elusive, so if they just, play with more discipline, I think we can shut him out too.
I do too. Now, who do you see as being the back behind Jeff Wilson Jr.? Do you believe it's finally going to be time to see Jordan Mason underneath the lights, or will they go with the veteran and give Marlon Mack carries before they turn to Jordan Mason? What's your gut tell you?
I still think Ty Davis Price will still get. He played well last game, so I'm sure Carl will still give him hit. But I'll be praying for Mason to get a run. I just love his physical running, and I think it's more like almost a younger version of Jeff Wilson, but stronger.
Yes,
because that's how Jeff Wilson used to run too.
Yes, I'm with you on the appreciation of Jordan Mason. And this week, for the next maybe 4 or so, Ty Davis Price had the high ankle sprain that came out late after the game. So he'll be scratched here. So it could be Jordan Mason that ends up getting those carries. We'll have to see him on Sunday for me, Monday for you. Another quick question for you from 187. He says, Rob, ask Elvis what drew him to the Niners from Australia. What was it that initially drew you in to be a fan of the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, my mother's her siblings were they all live in America, and my mom came back with a 49ers jacket, and I loved the jacket because it was the gold one with the red 49ers symbol at the back. Yes. And I was like, "That's my team."
Yes. Dude, that jacket is so amazing, and I could absolutely see that being a reason as a kid to be like, I want those colors. Thank you.
But that was the exact year. That was the year we won our last Super Bowl, '94.
Yes, man. Hey, that's a good tie-in. 1994. Let's relive those days, huh? Let's make one magical run this year.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Right on, right on. Well, do you have a final prediction on how this game is going to turn out? Do you see this as a close one, or do the Niners control it?
I can see the Niners control it. If we contain Russell Wilson, I can even see it as a shutout. But you know what I mean? You can't count out Russ. But at the same time, I'm just hoping we come away with the dub, and I'm more than happy. Regardless of the score, just as long as we come out with the dub, I'll be happy.
Me too. Well, Elvis, this has been phenomenal talking with you again. I loved it when we connected the first time. Absolutely glad that we were able to do it again. I hope that we can make it happen throughout the season. And I hope that you are there at work, listening in your ear and making your coworkers wonder what the hell's going on because you're shouting yes and yes and yes over and over again because the Niners are killing it.
Oh yeah, man! Don't worry. It'll be hard to contain my excitement. Even if they score, I'll be like touchdown, and then look at them like, what the hell is that? They would understand because obviously we got rugby league and rugby union, AFL, but who cares?
Absolutely, I absolutely love it. I'm thrilled with the excitement, and I hope we get that win, and you are able to celebrate it while at work, my friend.
Definitely, it's good talking, Rob. Take care.
Hey, you too, Elvis. Talk to you again soon, my friend.
No worries, my friend. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Phenomenal call. Absolutely phenomenal call. Appreciate that. All right, we are going to bring in Bullpup 33 to close out the stream for us. Absolutely a great call-in show. Bullpup 33, how are you doing this evening? Are you excited for Denver?
I am absolutely excited for Denver, Rob. I mean, I can't wait to see the look on Russell Wilson's face when he takes the L in his home stadium.
Yes, indeed. I'm very excited about that. The disdain for Russell Wilson, it's going to take a while for that to wear off.
It is, but here's the thing. You know, there's a couple of things that we can do against Russ that we've done in the past. When we've been successful against him, our D-line has always played disciplined.
Yes, this is the key. There have been some times you watch Eric Armstead come real close, give the edge to Russell, and Russell scampers right around and kills us.
Yes, so I remember back with Harbaugh when we did beat him a couple of times, it was pressure, but disciplined pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But actually the best defense against Russell Wilson is the 49ers run game.
Yeah, keep the man on the sideline.
Keep him on the sideline. Chew up that clock. And let me tell you, I'm keeping with the youth movement. I'm excited, and I'm sticking to my guns with the youth movement. Danny Gray should catch a deep ball. I don't know if you know it or any of our callers know it that have been up there in Denver. That mile high is real.
Yes.
That is legit. So that ball will travel, believe it or not, will travel farther, even if it's Jimmy throwing the ball. It will. It's just,
Yeah,
it will.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
it's why so many kicking records have been set there in Denver. So many kickers have their longest field goal attempts in Denver. That thin air is a very real thing.
it is a very real thing. So, yeah. So the longest we keep, so make sure we keep our defense fresh, keeps Russell on the bench. So yeah, ball possession, time consumption, running game. I want this to be the most boring game the Niners have had in a long time, but we get a W at the end.
Yes, that W is really all that matters to me in this one. I'm with you. Grind this one out. That will seem boring, but it will be a very convincing victory. Want to continue that, but have to bring in Randall Riley. Very kind, putting in the super chat. Sneakerhead here on the channel says, great calls as usual. Thanks for the great show, Rob. Smash that like button, fam. Randall, just kind of you to come in with the super chat. I appreciate the reminder to get people hitting the like button. Very important to send the message to more and more faithful. Get more and more sneakerheads here on the channel. I have to last. This has got to be a bot, but the Universe Galaxy NBA came in to let us know Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans in the history of mankind then. So, just in case you were wondering about the NBA and Michael Jordan, that bot left that there for us. So, yes, please continue, Bullpup. How do you said it's going to be probably a grinded out game, maybe a little bit boring, but the Niners are walking away with the dub.
Yeah, it's going to be a 60-minute football game.
Yeah, you think it's close at the end of this one where we're sweating Russell Wilson?
Yeah. I mean, anything else would be like, I just can't see it. We all have Russell Wilson PTSD, so.
We do, and rightfully so. It's not misplaced. It's not one of those where it's like, oh, we shouldn't be so afraid of Russell Wilson. No, the fear is very real because the man takes playing San Francisco very seriously.
Yeah, and so again, I'm sticking with the youth movement. I mean, we said at the beginning we're going to go as far as the youth takes us.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Trey is not going to be part of that rotation.
Right.
Because even if he comes back, I mean, he's not going to be. He's basically going to be where he was at. He wouldn't have had all that time to progress. Towards the end of the season, like he would have. Yeah, but I'm a firm believer in Danny Gray, who I think is going to be our version of Marquise Goodwin with better routes and better hands.
Ooh, Marquise Goodwin with better routes, crisper routes, better hands. I will take that. I mean, I feel like Danny has the type of speed that makes it easier on a quarterback to throw deep because you have very little risk of out throwing him, right? You just kind of chuck it as far as you can, put a little loft underneath it, and let Danny get underneath it because that guy's got wheels.
Yeah, and let's not forget, just because he can go deep doesn't mean he can't take the slant and take it to the house.
That's right. He was talking about that today when asked about playing with Jimmy. He was talking about taking those good completions where Jimmy can put the ball right on you and you're already at top speed. Take that to the house.
Yeah, we haven't had that since Mostert. To take something short and take it deep. So, again, explosiveness, Danny Gray. I was happy to see, even though I don't think he got registered as an official stat, but I'm giving a half a sack to Drake Jackson. Did you see how Bosa was hugging him when they met at the quarterback?
I thought that would go down as a half sack each as well.
So, yeah, I'm very happy to see that. Obviously, Huff is playing out of his mind, and I think part of it is, like we've been saying all along, instincts. He's just got that, big game Huff, as I like to call him. But not only that, Ward is taking care of his side. So that just makes defending the field so much easier when one of your guys is locked down.
So much easier, so much. And it gives you options as a defensive coordinator, right? You then have an additional player, unless you're going up against a real mobile quarterback. Unfortunately, we kind of are. But you got an additional player that you can use as a spy or use in additional blitzing techniques.
Yeah, and who knows? Huff might be the designated spy this game,
Yeah.
It could be that we're going to
losing a half a step. I think Hufanga keeps up with him. Certainly the instincts give him that first step. And then I think even stride for stride at this stage in Wilson's career, Hufanga is going to keep up with him.
Yeah, because it used to be Dante Whitner used to be his quote unquote spy back in the Harbaugh days, out of
Yeah,
the
and
strong safety spot.
Dante could put a lick on him too, right? Not just going to chase him down, but make him regret that decision. And that's a good way to get in Wilson's head is give him some shots. Let him know that this is going to be a physical matchup against this defense. You can run it if you want to, but you are going to take some hits if you do.
And I think he's going to take some hits this game. I really do. So anyway, the youth movement. What can I say about the offensive linemen? Those guys are playing much better than everyone thought.
So much better. And it seems like nowhere to go but up from here. I mean, you could argue, hey, we haven't seen him against the elite competition yet, and that might be true. But what we have seen leads me to believe that, yes, we are headed in a positive trajectory.
And part of the youth movement, I'm going to inject in here Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0, the new youth movement.
2.0 Jimmy.
Jimmy 2.0. I mean, he said it because let's be honest. His best games were, and this is a topic for a different day, but his best games was when he didn't know Shanahan's playbook.
Yeah, absolutely. When he was operating as a bit of a gunslinger and just running around making stuff happen.
Yeah, so he might be one of those people. Like I don't know where it's at because I'm not in the locker room. I don't know if it's Kyle that's micromanaging, which I can definitely see.
That's my stance, is that Kyle adds too much pressure to his quarterbacks and eventually they snap a little bit.
Or Jimmy could be one of those people that, depending on the setting, in order to try to please Kyle, he like overthinks it.
Yes. That could be possible as well. Either way, he should care less about what Kyle thinks this season because he's on the last year of his contract. He's trying out for other teams at this point if he wants, right? He doesn't have to come back to San Francisco ever again if he doesn't want to. And if he gets the chance to play, as we suspect, stays healthy, he's going to put a lot of tape out there that teams are going to have to look at. The teams that didn't choose Jimmy Garoppolo this year, I mean, I'm looking at you, Indianapolis. I don't know if you're regretting that decision at this point, but I might be.
Whew. That was a blunder and a half. They didn't take.
I'm telling you, there's some teams out there that are like, wow, we missed on the Garoppolo trade.
So, so Jimmy 2.0. Let's see what happens.
Jimmy 2.0. I'm coining that, by the way. That one, you may see that as a title for a show or a title for a topic. Jimmy 2.0 is coming back out.
Run with it, man. Run with it. I just really hope this is what Jimmy, when we've seen Jimmy at his best, there's no coincidence that he's smiling at the sideline when he's just having fun. You remember that Chicago game that everyone was like, oh, okay, Jimmy's done. We're not going to see Jimmy again ever. Yeah. And he just goes back home for, he had some home cooking, sees his parents. The next game against Chicago, he comes out looking like Jimmy Garoppolo, like we thought he was going to be.
Yes.
So I've seen it where like the games, like the big games that like against, what was that one? Against the Saints? Remember that one?
Saints was a big one. I remember that. I was there. Very pleased to be at that one. The one against the Rams in LA where he hit so many, what was it, like 3rd and 16, 3rd and 17? He hit multiple of those. Those were games he was cooking in 19.
So, but he was having fun. You can tell when someone is enjoying themselves, a good day at the office, versus the days where he's just like, you can tell he's just like, he's quiet. He's trying to think what he's doing, and he's like, "What did I do wrong after that pick?" And like down on himself and just overthinking it. I hope he just, like you said, just throw it out the window. Go have fun, Jimmy. Throw some touchdowns. Win some football games.
Yes, win this football game because I'm going to be there in Denver, and I can't have 2 road losses. So it just means that we have to get this one to erase that memory of Chicago. I'm going to have a good time regardless because I'm at a Niner game and I'll enjoy myself. I hope that you have a phenomenal time watching it. We are now into Thursday Night Football kicking off now or moments ago. We are right at that precipice of time to watch football. Bullpup 33, fantastic call to close out the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. You have a good one.
You too. Enjoy the game Sunday night.
All right.
Take care. All right, we are wrapping this one up. Appreciate all of the callers. This was a phenomenal show. The calls were fantastic. The energy was great. I really, really did enjoy this call-in show. If you enjoyed it as well, please do hit that like button on your way out. Amplify the message so more and more people see the Sneakerhead call-in show and become sneakerheads themselves so that we can expand our conversation, get more and more personalities in here. That's what I want to do. Thanks again. I put it up earlier, but Jaguayo56 for the last super chat here. Sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, hope you have a safe trip to the Mile High City. Looking forward to your reporting. Are you hooking up with John Chapman? His guest is Navarro Bowman. I am definitely going to look out. If Navarro Bowman is the special guest, I'm going to be looking out for that. John Chapman and I have talked about doing a collaboration for a while now. I got a couple of names on the books that are waiting to happen. John is definitely one of them. People tell me that they enjoy both of our styles and they believe that they would be complementary. So I certainly do believe that I would be up for that and think it would be a good pairing as well. All right. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate the show. It was great. We will be back with another Sneakerhead call-in show next week. As always, 4 p.m. on Thursdays, happening all the way up to the Thursday night game. I hope you enjoyed the Thursday night game, and I hope you enjoy the Sunday night game even more. I'll be there in Denver. Look for the live streams coming out pre-game. I will be in the parking lot interviewing fans, talking with another podcaster there live, going live after the game. And don't miss Jack Hammer and I tomorrow, 4 p.m. on the channel. Until then, cheers, faithful.